2. Listen to part of a lecture in a literature class.
Okay, at first glance, fairy tales may not seem to have much to do with literature or its effects on society. However, fairy tales, while they may not seem very important to us as adults, have a huge role in literature. For one thing, the basic plot elements that you see in more adult literature often originate in well-known fairy tales. How many damsels in distress are there in modern novels? How many characters are knights in shining armor, just without the armor? So, yeah, fairy tales definitely have an impact on other forms of literature. Fairy tales not only influence our literature, but also our collective social values. When we're young, we're still forming our basic values and opinions, right? Fairy tales have a huge effect on us in this way. Concepts like good versus evil, rewards for good deeds, these are all taught to us by fairy tales. But in recent years, there has been a greater awareness that not all of the values taught by fairy tales are so positive, especially in terms of our view of women. Look at some major fairy tales, Beauty and the Beast, Cinderella. In each case, you'll find a young girl in a terrible situation, one in which she has almost no power. But in the end, something, usually a man, will come along and save her from that situation. So the message is that if a woman simply accepts her situation and is patient, something will come along and save her. Not a very feminist message, is it? So nowadays you'll notice a lot of revisionist work on fairy tales. There are writers out there working to create new versions of these fairy tales with a more positive message for young girls. This is just one of the ways in which social politics and literature often interact.
Listen again to part of the lecture. Then answer the question.
For one thing, the basic plot elements that you see in more adult literature often originate in well-known fairy tales. How many damsels in distress are there in modern novels? How many characters are knights in shining armor, just without the armor?
Why does the professor say this?
How many damsels in distress are there in modern novels?